levels and levels and levels, levels and levels and levels. Yes, hello. Talking. That's the point of a podcast, isn't it?
It is.
Unless that podcast is a DJ set, in which case, not so much talking.
Indeed, yes. Okay. I'm feeling ill-prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get started.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
I did have big plans this week to come up with a whole heap of leading questions, getting to know you type questions.
You didn't, did you?
I didn't do it. No. So, what have you been up to?
That German game show I was talking about happened.
It's all done?
Yep, it happened. It's done until a couple of weeks from now.
Okay.
When it happens again.
Excellent.
As it is wont to do.
And did it work?
It did. It definitely worked. It was not particularly close, but the nature of the scoring system meant that much of the front half of the show, the first couple of hours, didn't really mean anything in the long run.
Right. Speaking of meaning things, the language barrier?
Oh, it's fine. You watch what's happening and you work out what's going on.
Okay.
Because they're usually simple enough for that.
Do you have conversations amongst you to...
Yeah.
I get what's going on, and someone else says, what is going on?
And occasionally you'll have a couple of people there who can actually speak German.
Right.
And can provide context.
Excellent.
Which is all well and good until Blamira Kassiran shows up and there's no on-screen text and it's just people talking in German for a quarter of an hour to half an hour while they finish up that round. Good.
I'm sure that person is a well-known face in German television.
Blamira Kassiran, that's one of the games that always shows up.
Oh, that's a game.
Yes, that is a game that always shows up. The point is...
Can you repeat the name?
Blamieren Oder Kassieren.
And what language is that?
That's German.
That you're not saying it's German.
No, not particularly well, no.
No.
The point of this game, that is part of this game show, is stop me when you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that probably doesn't translate well if you don't translate.
No. Point if you're right, point to the other person if you're wrong.
Okay, so sort of metaphorically like watching paint dry or grass grow.
So usually we try to find something else to do during that.
Right, like online virtual card tossing.
This time around, we ended up doing a quiz about identifying movie tie-in video games from screenshots.
From screenshots, right. Good.
Which we largely managed to do quite well.
Good.
Yeah.
How far back did these screenshots go?
We're talking quite far back.
Good. So I have some fond memories of really, really bad movie and TV show tie-in computer games.
The movie...
On 8-bit computers.
The movie tie-in video game has somewhat fallen out of favour.
It really has. Yes.
You'll get the occasional one from the big franchise.
Yeah.
But
something that has continued to thrive every 4 years is the Olympic
Yes.
Games tie-in. That has been going since home computers existed and continue to
not progress so much.
No. There's still button bashers and many controllers are destroyed in the playing of Olympic game.
Nobody has yet made a good Olympic video game, and I doubt they ever will.
No, I remember a number of them made by Ocean, the software company for the Amiga, and I think even the Amstrad before that they did. I think. I could be making that up. Anything else?
It has gotten to the point where there are more games in the Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games video game than in the official tie-in, not Sonic and Mario branded Olympic Games video game.
Oh dear. Anything else you've been up to?
I read a book that I had gotten for my birthday 6 months ago. Finally got around to that. That was...
Which book was that?
Axiom's End by YouTube video essayist Lindsay Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
A science fiction type thing.
Do you recommend it?
Yes, it was quite good.
Right, there we go. A hot tip for all you readers of people who can read something that's not written in crayon. Is it written in crayon?
It's not, no.
So I would not be able to read it.
No, it is written in normal book fonts.
Wow.
At normal sizes.
And you got it in actual book form?
Yes.
Wow. Good.
Yes, so there's your top tip. Don't buy Olympic video games, do buy books.
Okay.
There we go.
I will put a link to making note that anyone who clicks on that link, it will not be an affiliate link, so we will not be making any money off. So we'll link it to an obscure bookshop in Hobart.
And we shall continue to make no money.
No money at all. I'm just trying to think what I've been up to. It was a blood week again, so I had my arm pierced for the donation of plasma. Was it this week that I started and finished playing... What was the name of that?
What Remains of Edith Finch?
Yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch. There's my recommendation. Not an Olympic game, not a book, but a sort of a... it's an experience rather than a game, really. It's sort of got game-type sections in it that you have to complete to progress the story, but I certainly managed to fumble my way through it and very much enjoyed that experience, if enjoyed is the correct word. It's a very dark and sort of...
Certainly is.
An odd story, but well worth a look. Yes. So I'll put a link in the show notes to some obscure...
Oh, I wouldn't.
No, that could be dangerous. What else? Sorry, I've still got a little bit of understanding, dear listener. There are 8 people living in this household, so 6 offspring of mine, 3 of which are the same age, and those 3 especially grew up in the Wii era. And I'm not talking urine here. I'm talking the Nintendo game system. So, out of the blue this week, as it tends to happen, even though the system is still set up, it hasn't been used for absolute ages. But out of the blue, every so often, the music to where you set up your Mii character. Is it a Mii character?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It just sort of... one person starts it and soon enough the whole house is humming along. So...
but it's good music.
Yeah, well, that happened, and the Thomas the Tank Engine theme as well, from much the same era.
Yep.
So, yes, I've got both of those going through my head, and sort of wish they weren't. So, there may be a way of getting rid of those by watching something that will engross us. And what is that? What are we going to watch today?
We are watching X plus Y.
Mm-hmm. And if you are in the US...
A Beautiful Young Mind, wasn't it?
Yes. A Beautiful Young Mind, I think it is, yes. But only in the US. We'll touch on that a little later. If and when I manage to find my phone. I have found it, but it is way over there.
Yeah, it's even further from me.
What am I going to do about that? Okay. There, I had phone absence anxiety there for a second. There is a plot synopsis on the back of the Blu-ray cover.
There is. It's long. It's a long synopsis.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering whether, because I was going to look up something, whether I should...
Well, while you're doing that...
Yes?
It's a sad story about Thomas and Friends.
Is it?
Yes. The original series is over after some almost 40 years
Of
Thomas and Friends.
Oh, really? They'd still been making it, had they?
They had... The last episode aired on the 20th of January this year.
Wow. Okay.
And Mattel, being Mattel, have gone for doing an entirely new series that looks different and nobody who is fans of likes.
Okay. Yes, well, certainly when I started watching it, it was all miniatures, physical miniatures, and that evolved somewhat with facial expressions being computer animated, but still with physical. And then they went full 3D
and
CG,
full voice acting,
rather than just a narrator.
Now, in 12 days, a 2D series.
Huh.
Yep.
Huh, okay. Don't know what I feel about that. I do not know.
So there we go.
Okay, so it's a long plot synopsis on the disc, so I might just pinch a shorter one. Mm-hmm. Have you read the longer one?
Yes, it remains long.
Okay, good. All right, so this is from wherever Google gets their plot synopsis from. It's their knowledge panel, apparently. Okay. Struggling to build relationships with others, a teenage maths prodigy if you're in other parts of the world, played by Asa Butterfield, develops a budding friendship with a young girl while competing at the International Mathematics Olympiad. That is very short.
That is a lot shorter than the back of the case, which remains long.
It didn't get any shorter whilst I stumbled through that?
No, it didn't.
Alrighty. Now, I do not know, because I can't remember what's written on the back of that, whether it makes any mention of any triggers that may upset you in this film.
Look, it doesn't, but I get the picture.
Okay.
I get the picture.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I have a certain relationship with depictions of neurodivergency.
Okay.
And we'll see how this turns out.
That's right. Well, it certainly touches on that. That being said, the rest of the family watched it a number of weeks ago, a number of months ago, I think, even now. Morgan did walk out of it because he just wasn't interested, I think. But the others did sit through it and gave it a reasonable score, and Brianna wouldn't score it.
Right. Well, that's interesting.
Yes. And I did sort of press her about that, and she said, no, it wasn't a bad film, but I don't think I can score it. So there. I don't normally give you... I'm just trying to give you some forewarning as to the fact that, yes, it deals with neurodivergency, and I thought after selecting the film that, I'd better warn you, so why not warn you on the podcast right before we watch it? Yes, so Thomas is going to take the disc out of the Well, unless you want to read the plot synopsis that is
No.
on the back of the disc.
No.
You know.
I'm going to take the disc out of the quite battered.
Yeah, I had to order this online because it was actually quite hard to get my hands on. It's not on any of the streaming services. It may well be now, but it wasn't then. He's going to carefully open the disc case from not the middle,
No.
because the middle bit is broken. He's going to pop the disc into the machine, and we're going to watch it. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
No, X.
No, we're on side X.
Okay, so turn to side Y.
Yeah.
And, yes.
Yeah, the other one.
You mongrel. So, what did you think?
Given my previous history with films focusing on neurodivergency, that was not bad. That went rather well.
It did. Yes, I was very, very impressed. It was quite nuanced and sympathetic and understanding of. I'm guessing that you I did notice in the corner of my eye you flicking through. You're probably familiar that the director of this, Morgan Matthews, in 2007, this came out in 2014, and in 2007 he actually made a documentary of the Maths Olympiad there and followed a group and delved into the high rate of autism and Asperger's in the field of the Mathematics Olympiad. And so this film was, as I say, also directed by that documentary director and based quite heavily on one particular member who did attend the showing. There are quite a number of differences in it. It is very much a fictionalised account. And I'm not going to spoil, because there would be some major spoilers happening there, but it should be noted that at the premiere, the guy that it was based on was in attendance, as was his teacher. And they discussed during the film the surprising differences, but he was quoted as saying concerning the film, it's a brilliant and very moving film. Oh no, sorry, this was the teacher who said this. It's a brilliant and very moving film, and Asa Butterfield is amazing. And the guy that Asa Butterfield's character was based on said, I cried the first 3 times I watched it. It says things I was feeling but could not express. I think that's high praise coming from someone who was in the thick of it himself. So, yeah.
It's interesting for a film with such mathematical themes. It's not really a film about maths.
No.
It's a film about all competition.
Yes. Yep.
And how competitive such competition can get, and how unhealthy such competition can get.
Indeed. I remember back in grade 7 entering a maths competition and being quite proud of the fact that I ended up with a distinction in that maths competition. And my best friend, who has gone on to do amazing things in mathematics, only ended up with a credit. He then went on the next number of years blitzing absolutely everything, but I'm guessing maybe he was having a bad day, I was having a good day, or I don't know. But yes, there was that quite bizarre feeling of intense competition and jealousy and rivalry and but the very concept of winning medals for doing mathematics is just ludicrous. I can't get my head around that concept.
The way that medals work at the International Mathematical Olympiad is that they try to get roughly half of the field to medal.
Yep.
and the medals are given out at a ratio of 1 to 2 to 3 gold, silver and bronze. So about a 12th of the field will get a gold medal, the next 2 12ths will get silver.
Okay.
And so on.
Yep. I mean, that would also, as far as determining because every year your questions are going to be different, and so you're going to have years that are harder and years that are easier, and so using that method is still going to be possibly the fairest that they could do it, really. But yes, where were you heading before I rudely interrupted?
I don't know that I was really heading anywhere.
Right.
That was just the point I was making. I don't know. The trouble really is the people that get left behind.
Yeah, and that was, I think, portrayed particularly well in this. It was very, very recognisable that this was a dramatisation, and so you saw possibly things that this director saw in real life, multiple real-life characters being narrowed down into one particular character to carry the story forward and not have so many characters that you can't keep track of. But there was certainly a particular character who did an absolutely wonderful, I thought, job of being one of those people who got left behind and also struggled with the whole fitting in of being that square peg in the round hole, and other characters within that were reflecting the struggle of recognising that you are different and trying your darndest to try and fit in. It was... It certainly made me uncomfortable in a lot of places because of the familiarity of certain things. Did you find that?
Yeah,
happening?
Not as badly as some films we have watched.
Yeah.
Over the, I can say years. We have been doing this for years.
We have been doing this for years. Yes.
Yeah.
Handshakes. That was the one thing that really rang true with me. I find it quite difficult to do handshakes, and thus during this COVID thing, it's been absolutely glorious. Being in an organisation that seems wildly obsessed with handshakes, it has been sweet relief, and being in a state where things have very, very much relaxed because of our COVID-free status that has been over a year, and things have been going back to normal. Well, handshake-wise, no, it's not going back to normal for me. I still am clutching at that excuse for not giving the handshake, because there's just... and that is the frustrating thing about certain autistic traits, that you are extremely familiar that you have, but still can't... recognition isn't a solution.
No.
It doesn't make it any easier.
No.
I recognise it, but it still doesn't help me in dealing with that interaction. And flip side, the other flip side is I have enormous difficulty maintaining eye contact when talking to people, well nigh impossible. And my coping mechanism has always been, I'll look at the mouth. And I have been so thankful for the fact that we, again, with our COVID-free status, masks have really not featured. And so being able to maintain conversations, and there are some people where I'm familiar. I feel extremely uncomfortable in realising that they know that I'm not maintaining eye contact, and I'm looking at their mouth. And I think, do I have something in my teeth? And something like that. And Asa Butterfield actually portrayed that really, really well, but quite naturally. The last scenes where he's doing a lot more physical interaction than he's probably... There was still really constrained eye contact going on there, and it was... Sorry, I'm I'm ranting a bit. Possibly because it is a success after all these failures of films that we have sat through, where it has been a major sticking point of getting it right. This got so many things right.
For my part, my experience with academic competition...
he has some bling sitting on his laps.
So, setting aside the rest of my school career, which had a lot of ups and downs, and a lot more downs, and some more downs, what I have in front of me is 2 medals from separate years telling me that I'm good at scientific problem solving. That say that I, in those 2 years, was the best in the state at scientific problem solving. And I'm quite proud of what I've done.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
And we were very, very proud of you too. And still are. So much so that I will probably take a photo of those and stick them on the Facebook page for this particular film. If that's all right with you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Thank you to the University of New South Wales for sending me these big chunks of metal.
They are big chunks of metal.
Not sponsored.
No. Anything else you wish to say about...
Yeah, I just think that message of health in competition is really important. Because you see it all up and down in all fields. You have people who, not necessarily even people who are directly competing, but people who get too wrapped up in the idea that winning is everything. That if you aren't winning, what has been the point of it?
Yes.
And it's been good experiencing the Paralympics this past week. Afghanistan is in a bit of turmoil at the moment.
A little bit of turmoil.
Such that right before the Paralympics, it fell. Afghanistan fell to the Taliban. It's the Taliban's Afghanistan now. And Afghanistan were going to send 2 competitors to the Paralympics. And it didn't seem like that was going to happen until very recently, when they did make it. One of them had intended to participate in one of the various 100-metre sprints that happen, because the Paralympics has a lot of differently abled 100-metre sprints. Didn't quite make it in time to make that event, but went on to do the long jump. Came last, but that wasn't the point.
No.
The point was being there and being able to do one's best.
I don't know how well you remember searching for Bobby Fischer.
I don't.
Right.
I don't remember it.
Okay. Very much in the same vein that you were heading as far as the dangers of competition for competition's sake, and winning is everything, and there is always that danger of being pushed in directions that you lose the love of something because of that pushing for achieving. There is that fine line between trying to achieve your best and that next level of obsessiveness where winning is absolutely everything. So Searching for Bobby Fischer, another good film that reflects that.
Yeah, that was all I had.
Yep. The music was just perfect for the film, I thought. It filled spaces that needed to be filled, but also was unobtrusive in other places. It was just a really good soundtrack, and also recognising very much the mathematical nature of music too. It was good. Just to clarify, so the documentary that was made was called
Beautiful Young Minds.
Beautiful Young Minds. The movie that we watched tonight, all around the world it's called X plus Y, but it was released in the US as A Brilliant Young Mind, just to make things really confusing. Yeah, good film.
Yes.
Really good film.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. We shall... I'm just... Yes. One of the traits that I... there is a really, really frustrating myth. There is a really frustrating myth concerning autism, and that is a lack of emotion or empathy or feeling or recognising feelings in others. And for some people that may be a feature of, to lesser or greater extent. But for others, and I fall into this category myself, in that I quite often feel too much. I feel uncomfortable to the extreme where I envision other people being uncomfortable. And so watching this film, seeing people similar to myself experiencing those, it was a double whammy of feeling weird. I mean, for example, a couple of years back, I went into Subway to order a footlong sub, and you could tell that the person who was serving you, this was their first day. You know, he had the supervisor looming, and his hands were shaking, and I basically had a panic attack for him. And it was horrendous. He got through it and did a wonderful job, even though he was extremely, extremely nervous. Meanwhile, I'm losing it, because I've been in a situation of new jobs a number of times, and know how freakish that can be, and so. I guess I went into empathic overload, and amplified every worst case scenario that could happen, which is frustrating when this kid is wielding a knife whilst slicing through a sandwich very, very close to his hand, and so. If that is any eye-opener to any of you out there who have sort of preconceived notions, it is called a spectrum for a reason. Yes. So anyway, I shall calm down now, and we shall move on.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
Okay. A cheeky question from Entuos Ferashu over on one of the Discords I peruse. How long until your greatest hits of Deranged Cat Room Tone album comes out?
See, I can't remember how much I left in last week's episode. I think the end bit was a sort of a collage of last week, after we'd finished recording, the Deranged Cat did get quite deranged, but there were quite large gaps in between his derangement and rowdiness, so I cut a fair bit of that out. But I think he actually heard us talking about him because he has just come in from the kitchen into the Deranged Cat studio, and he's looking around, contemplating what havoc he can wreak, or whether he's just trying to psych us out.
I think the timing just might be about right.
Yeah, I think so.
Every night, around this time.
Yeah.
Time to cause chaos.
Yep. So from here on in, you may well hear the Deranged Cat, which can be added to our greatest hits. I like that. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah. Jeff, I do hope that a rewatch does go well for you of Rango, because I do think it is a very good film, and if you did come into it with the wrong expectation and that tainted your first viewing, I hope that does not carry over to a second.
No, and it's interesting that we have had a series of films, Rango and Kubo and Missing Link, that all suffered to various degrees from possibly their advertising and marketing gave false impressions as to what type of film they were going to be. All of those films that I mentioned are certainly accessible to various degrees for children, but in a lot of ways they are definitely not kids' films, and all three of them tackle that in various different ways and to various degrees of success. And I think as far as those three are concerned, Rango is certainly the most adult of those three. And all that being said, yes, definitely, if you can get your hands on it and watch it again. Again, I don't think we're overhyping. It is good film. It's good film. Yeah. It's good. Yes. All right then. Anything else?
I think that might be it.
All right then. I'm waiting for the Deranged Cat to scratch his claws down the window pane. All right. So before he does that, let's move on.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
It's your turn.
It is my turn, and I have
grand plans. You knew exactly what you were going to pull from the archives to.
I might have a quick look over my list just to see if anything in particular is jumping out to me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I might come around on it by the time I've gotten to the end of the list.
He's got a little list.
It's not that little. Yeah. Even though I haven't taken things off it that I should have.
Yes, I'm guilty of that too.
My list is at least a year long, so so I'm not left wanting for choice.
No, you got.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say a year long, you mean even if we were to just select from your list,
yes,
it would be a year long.
It would be. Yes.
Okay, cool. And that can be a blessing and a curse.
Okay. I'm going to go with my first instinct here.
Okay.
This film
is
from 1982.
My goodness. I was in grade 8. I was younger than my youngest kids when this came out. All right. 82.
It's a Disney film.
Right. Disney in 82.
But it's not strictly an animated film.
Ah.
No.
No. No, that's that. No, it wouldn't be that.
There's a lot of blue and red in it.
Yes, as soon as I recognised registered that I was way out year-wise. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is well after 82, and then suddenly thought, what was I watching in 82 from Disney that wasn't strictly an animated film? And yes,
a lot of blue and red.
A lot of blue and red,
and a lot of glowing white.
Yes.
And
I did actually see this at the cinema
and
with, I should point out, the kid who I beat in the grade 7 maths competition. Ross, if you're listening, I love you, mate. Don't know where you are. Last I heard he was at Oxford, so yes.
So doing quite well for himself.
Yes, yes.
It has some shots of offices that have been extended quite far using matte painting.
Mm-hmm. And most of it was filmed in black and white. Even though you mention all of those colours, most of it was filmed in black and white.
Yep. It is listed on the front of the case as the original classic, to separate it, I assume, from the later film that was not received quite so much as a classic, but that I do like. It has grown on me very much so. And I say that feeling like, oh, hello, deranged cat. You're going to sit on my deranged lap, are you? Yeah, I loved it in the first place, but it has actually grown on me even more. This film...
Sorry, I'd need to lower my microphone because I'm making myself accessible to the deranged cat who is now running the mixer.
This film is Tron.
It is. Not Legacy.
No.
It's the original and questionably the best. Oh, good. I'm really looking forward to this. Although,
now that Tron has come up, I can put Tron Legacy on my list.
Yes.
Because my list only contains standalones or jumping off points.
Okay.
Anything else will get added as needs be.
Well, either of those on my list?
That's a good question. Let's have a look. Legacy. It is not.
Okay.
Legacy is not.
Yep.
I don't know about the original classic, and it's frankly a moot point.
You are going to have to return to it, though, so that you can read the plot synopsis.
I am, yes. Yes, it was on your list.
Good. It's possibly one of the first films after Star Wars in 1977 that made me see something different in cinema, something unique in cinema. So, yeah, I still remember coming out of the cinema and just wow, that was cool.
Right.
All right.
I've got one sentence for you.
Oh, good.
The rest is just advertising.
Good.
Yeah. Complete with never before seen bonus materials.
Oh, okay.
When a brilliant video game maker named Flynn hacks the mainframe of his ex-employer, he is beamed inside an astonishing digital world and becomes part of the very game he is designing. That's it. That's the one sentence you get.
Okay. Now, did I upgrade that to Blu-ray?
It is on Blu-ray, yes.
Oh, okay.
Which will allow for more of those never-before-seen bonus materials.
Yes. Yes.
Extra features, music.
Oh, well, I seem to recall that the DVD version of it was very, very basic. It had zip all on it other than... Sorry, I very much know that is the case with the Black Hole DVD.
Which is also on my list for reasons that we will get to when it comes up.
When it comes up.
Yeah.
It's for the soundtrack, isn't it?
That's a story.
Oh, it is. It is.
But we'll get to that.
We will. We're wrapping up, aren't we?
We are.
Next week, Tron. Hope you can join us. But until then, catch you next time.
Bye. You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Alright then, we're wrapping up, aren't we?
We are.
Next week, Tron. Hope you can join us. But until then... was this the way we were going to wrap it up? Good.
It's the way we usually wrap it up. Poorly.
Really
Very poorly.
Hope you can join us. And we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Next time. We'll catch you next time. We will catch you next time.
But whether it's next week or not is another thing, because when we take breaks, it's usually just entirely off the cuff. When we feel like it, and Christmas. That's it.
That's right. Yeah. Catch you next time.
Bye. Thought you could catch me off guard, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Well, I caught me off guard. Okay. Where's the stop button? Cat, can you hit the stop button, please?
It's the red one.
I thought for a moment we weren't recording.